But you stopped over in Arizona on your journey in the federal prison system.
Yes.
Could you describe what happened there?
Well, I was supposed to go, as part of my plea agreement, they were supposed to send me to Terminal Island, which is a prison near my home in California. But as usual, Bureau of Prisons, well, it was too crowded in Terminal Island. It's too crowded in every federal prison. That's the excuse they used. And they sent me to Phoenix, Scottsdale, actually. It was a fairly new prison. And I was there for about 6 months. And while I was there, this whole Fortune magazine article came out. And I'll never forget, Shaun, Jennifer, you'll appreciate this. This big, well, you're not from the States, but I hope you understand. This big, heavy-set lieutenant calls me into his office, and he shows me the article. I didn't even know it came out, right? 50 biggest and wealthiest mob bosses in the country. And he said, "Don't you think you mafia guys are taking over my prison?" I said, "What are you talking about?" And he shows me the article. And I said, "Look," I said, "you can lock me in my cell. Just make sure I get my visits. I said, something to eat and a phone call, and you'll never hear from me again." So he said, "Okay," and he locked me down. And I was locked up for about 2 weeks while they did all the promotional tour on the magazine. And I stayed there for about 6 months until they finally got me to Terminal Island.
What year was that then?
I was in 1986.
So this was in Scottsdale, 1986.
Yes.
I think Sheriff Joe Arpaio was running the jail system.
Well, that was the state system. I was in the federal system, yeah, so he didn't get involved in that.
So what was it like when the heat went up then, where you were housed?
It was, you mean the real heat or it was hot. It was 120 degrees. It was a miserable place to be in.
On the UK temperature schedule, that's almost 50 degrees.
Yeah, it was. And my wife was coming out every weekend with the kids to see me, but she was in Scottsdale, which is beautiful.
That's what my SWAT team raid was.
Yeah, you get through it, Shaun.
What about the coming into the cell? Was it the old swamp cooler?
No, because it was a fairly new prison. It was just built, so it had air conditioning. It wasn't bad that way, but after a while they were all the same.
Yeah.
So you ranked number 18 in the magazine.
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
It's never good to get that kind of high-profile publicity when you're in prison. They look at you differently as far as the guards are concerned, The inmates, everybody's coming up to you with a deal. Michael, listen, and it's funny, Shaun, you probably experienced this. All these guys come and they tell you, the next time I'm not going to make a mistake. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I learned. And you know what my answer was? Well, who did you learn from? Everybody in here got caught. So how are they going to teach you anything new, But these guys, they always got a scheme or something on their head. But
so how many years total have you served in your entire life?
I did just about 8 years.
So watching your videos, then you've not really told many prison stories, like what you saw in the prisons, various prisons you were in. What kind of crazy stuff did you observe or experience?
You know what I learned in there, Shaun? Everybody that never got any respect on the street wants all the respect in there. So my dad, he was a very wise guy, and he told me, he says, "Michael, I'm going to give you 3 things that are going to help you tremendously when you go to prison." Because he knew one day I was going to go, right? I said, "What's that, Dad?" He said, "Know how to say please, thank you, and excuse me." He says, "You bump into somebody, excuse me." He says, "Somebody hands you something, thank you. Do you mind if I cut in line, please, And you know what? He was so right. Because I saw things happen in there when guys tried to push their weight around. People don't take it kindly in there, I remember one guy getting hit over the head with a mop wringer. One of those 30-pound mop wringers, all steel, just boom, smashed his head open. I saw a lot of things in there that where guys lose control and, stabbings and all that kind of stuff. It happens quite a bit.
What's the violence over predominantly? Is it drugs and debts, things like that?
Yeah, it's stupid things, You don't gamble in there. I used to tell guys that came in, I said, if you gamble, you make sure you got the money to pay it. I said, because in here, you're going to pay for it. So a lot of guys but guys gamble in there. Stupid little gambling debts, couple of $100, boom, get stabbed or get hurt for. There's things in there you just don't engage in because they're problems.
Was there any attempts on you?
Huh?
Was there any attempts on you?
No attempts on me. The only time I had a problem was an accident, actually. One of the hot points in prison are the telephones. because everybody has a limited time on the phone, and there's a line at times, and if somebody's behind you and you're cutting into their time, that's bad. They're trying to talk to their family, their lawyer, whatever. So I'm on the phone, and I was very respectful of that because I didn't want anybody taking my time. I hang up the phone, I walk through the dorm, and somebody comes from some, and boom, sideswipes me. And I was stunned for a minute. I look at him, and the guy goes, "I hit the wrong guy." He hit me by mistake. It was somebody else. He was a black guy, I don't mind saying it, you know. And he got, "Oh, Michael, I'm so sorry." And I said, "All right, don't worry about it, I understand." But here's what happened. That night, him and his guys came to me because they figured I was going to hurt this guy. You know, he's a young guy. He's probably 23, 24. I said, "There's no problem. It was an accident. I get it." He's, "No, Michael, we know you guys." I said, "There's no problem." But since that time happened, anything that I wanted from this crew, they got. Anything at all, you know? So, you know, but that was the only time I ever had a problem. Nothing else.
What was your favorite prison versus the worst prison you were in?
The best prison was Terminal Island.
Terminal Island.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It was right on the water. I had a setup there like you couldn't believe, you know, it was just terrific. And it was close to my house, so my wife could come, you know, 3-4 days a week. So, and that's why, as part of my deal, I knew how, because in the federal system, they ship you everywhere. You can be 3,000 miles from your house. So it was very important when I made the plea agreement to get to the prison near my house. And finally, after about 7 months, I was in Scottsdale. Then they finally honored that. I had my lawyer pushing. But it was if you're going to do time, it was the best place in the system.
What was your least favorite?
I had a lot of them. You know, they had me in, I guess Pennsylvania was a tough one. It was a level 6. It was a high-level institution. And they had me in a condemned area in the basement for a while, for a couple of months.
Is that like Supermax then?
It was Supermax, yeah. And when the feds were really squeezing me, they put me on what they call diesel therapy, where they ship you to all different prisons. You're in lockdown the whole time, you're chained, and they just keep moving you around just to break you. It's very, very tough. It's the toughest part. And Oklahoma, El Reno was a sewer. I don't know how else to describe it. Terrible place. But I probably visited, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 prisons along the way. That many, yeah.
Why were they putting so much pressure on you to put you on diesel therapy?
They wanted me to cooperate. You know, they told me you're a dead man anyway. When I walked away from, you know, the words all over the street, you're going to get killed, you're not going to last, cooperate with us, we'll put you in the witness protection program, you know, we'll help you. I didn't want to do that. You know, Shaun, as you know, you took your share of hits. I take people out there that don't know us, don't even know what they're talking about, just make up things because they want views, you know, they want people to watch them. But, you know, I spoke with the government, but only to try to get them to leave me alone. You know, I didn't get on, stand and testify against my former associates. I would never do that. And when push came to shove, because I wouldn't do it, they threw me back in a prison for almost 3 years. Well, 35 months. And they kept me in lockdown in solitary for 29 months. Just me, solitary confinement. So,
what was your routine in solitary?
God, you know what it is? When I look back, it was like, I can't differentiate the days at a time. It's one long day. It's like the day that never ends. You know, but I saw a lot of guys not do well in that. You know, those lights go out at night. You hear a lot of moaning and groaning and crazy things, but I mean, I survived it, you know. I got through it okay.
Exercise, reading?
Yeah, exercise. I mean, I lost like 20 pounds in there, you know, because what are you going to do? I didn't want to eat. You know, you lose your appetite. I ate cereal and bananas and cup of soup. That was it. But you know, that's where my faith really became important to me. I was into my faith big time. My wife, you know, was sending me tons of books, and it turned out to be a good time for me, believe it or not.
Were you allowed visits in solitary? You're not, are you?
No, you get visits. Yeah. It's a little bit more restrictive, but you do get visits, yeah.
Is it behind the plexiglass?
No. In the federal system, you go into it's a separate area, but you can get visits. No conjugal visits. In the federal system, none at all.
Have you had a conjugal visit?
I mean, believe me, I would have paid to have one, but no, we didn't get any.
Where were they possible? I know some countries still do them, but
In the state prisons, they do.
was it California had them?
California state, yes. In the state system, you can get it. The feds, no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would have done anything to have that, you know, because what it is, you go in an apartment for 2 days. Every hour you got to come out and say hello to the guards, you know, but who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that your journey before prison, you met more dangerous people, or you met more dangerous people in prison?
Probably outside of prison, yeah.
Outside.
Yeah. I mean, when you're on the street, you know, you meet all sorts of, especially in my life, there was a lot of crazy guys, Shaun, you know. The Roy DeMeos of the, I could talk about them, they're gone, but DeMeo, Greg Scarpa, you know, I don't want to say I was very close with him, but I was close with him because we were the same family. We were both captains, so we interacted a lot. Greg was a different kind of guy. You know, DeMeo, a couple of these guys were, you know, they're not right upstairs, trust me.
So being in a room with them, then what's the aura like?
Well, you don't feel anything. You know, people who say, were you scared of these guys? I had no reason to be scared of them. I mean, look, Shaun, let me be honest. We were all capable of taking care of ourselves. I mean, if I knew somebody was going to hurt me, I'm going to hurt them first. I mean, it's very simple. I can do what they do. The difference is they like doing it a lot. This is what they did. This is how they solve problems. For me, if I had to do something, I'm going to do it. But it's not what I enjoyed. You know, it's a whole different mindset.